Well, it went live quick then. I don't even have everything set up. How about that? Let's find something on the tune maker. Hope everybody's doing good. Just gonna teach you a few things that you really need to know about DPF filters. So hang on to your hat, pay attention. I'm gonna give a little bit of time for some people in the room this time. Okay, so I'll just be chilling for a minute, but you do need to listen to this because you don't learn this stuff in trucking school, people. And you need to know what's gonna happen, how your truck's gonna react, how you need to react, and what's gonna happen when your DPF filters are full. And you also need to learn a thing called pitted liners. You need to learn about electrolysis, okay? We're just about chemists anymore. Guys that's been doing this for a long time. I guess you could call me an old timer now. I guess I'm becoming an old timer, I don't know. But keep it in mind that the engineers are engineering problems into your trucks. And they're basically ticking shop bombs, waiting to go off at any time. So I'm going to give you an interval of mileage of what you need to look for these problems so that you'll know. Because it's not something you can check on your pre-trip. Physically, you can get into your computer and check it, and you can have a laptop check it. So there is technically a way you can go into, depending on what you got. If you have some of the computers now have a way to check it. PeopleNet has a way to check it. For PeopleNet, you know, there's like a default home vehicle and then engine data, and then you scroll down and it would say like diesel filter status or diesel particulate filter status, and it'll say like how much percentage, and it also shows you how much is in your DEF tank, in case you don't know, in case you think you need to, if there's something wrong with your gauge, you can check it through your computer. It's a little trick. These gauges kind of go out sometimes. I'm gonna give this a minute. I'll find something decent to listen to, if I can. I was gonna do a video on this. I decided to go live on it, and it's easier for me. Hey, that works. Ain't nothing wrong with that right there. Rear, listen to that. So, that's decent. That's some relaxing music right there. I hope everybody's doing good. Like I said, I'm gonna do a live later tonight on another thing here. This is like I said, it's just some stuff that I wanted to do a video on it. I've got some video of when I had my filters changed a while back, and I've got pictures of it. So that was a picture of my actual DPF filter. It's a can, there's two of them. They roll them into place. It's like your exhaust is split from a 6-cylinder 6-into-1 exhaust into a 6-into-2 in the one box, and those one boxes cost anywhere from $8,500. If there's a problem with those are usually under warranty up until around your 600,000 mile mark or so, when your warranty runs out. At that point, it's on you. So if you're buying a used truck, I'm going to put a list. I'm going to hold a whole nother video what you should be looking for buying a used truck, especially with DEF fluid. There's filters in the DEF pump. I had my pump changed, had the whole thing done under warranty. You got to know to have them check it. You have them check it, you get that for free. Okay, new pump and filter. Why take the pump apart and clean it like these? There's videos on YouTube how to do it. If you want to learn, if you want to mess that nasty stuff, fine. But if your truck's under warranty, take it up there. If they can find an issue, it's under warranty, and if they change the pump, they change the whole pump, the housing, the whole, I guess you call it a manifold. Personally, I would call it a manifold. Anything that has to do with injection is a manifold. So, but the DPF, back to the DPF filters. I'll try to stay on subject, I really will. The DPF filters are two big round canisters. You would think that any idiot on any corner could change those. However, that is incorrect. You have to take off not just the fairing and the cover to the hot box, the one box. and there's special clamps you have to replace. If you buy the DPF filters, they're going to cost you around $1,200 to $1,300, and they're going to come with some of the clamps, but not all of the clamps. You're going to have to buy 2 more clamps. They never have them all in that kit. And those clamps are expensive. They're just like the clamps that hold a turbo onto the exhaust pipe, but they're bigger. They're big bands is what they are. And they have a sealing ability of them, and they can handle that high temp. They're coated with something that's a high temp coating. I don't want to get into that. I'll just say, have someone else do this, not just because they might try to blame you for doing something to the new DPF filters and not warranty it, but they only charge you 4 to 6 hours labor. You're already paying so much for those filters, and those filters, now they swap them out. They don't usually clean them. Now, if you own a truck, you can send them to get it cleaned, but if there's a problem with them, then they're going to say, now you need new filters, and you paid to have those cleaned. So then you got no good of a core. You're better off just going to your manufacturer, which I would say Freightliner, you know, for a Freightliner truck, and have them bring in 2 filters, and they'll swap them out for you. Now, here's the thing. Here's the trick that they don't tell you. This is why you have to have them do it, or later you'll have to drive at 5 miles an hour to them to have it done. 5 miles an hour, people. Fun, right? You better be close. You have a truck parade, you'll be the one in the lead, you'll be leading the parade. Here's the thing, you'll be backing up traffic for miles at 5 miles an hour. Don't. So you have to, if you did it yourself, you have to drive it to someone who has the software for your truck, and they pay like $8 grand a year or 10 grand a year just to have that software in a laptop, and it cancels at the end of that year until they repay them to have it in a shop. You got to have that software, because in your computer, even though you physically changed your DPF filters, it's not a physical thing. Your computer says, oh, you need to change your DPF filters, right? You shut off your truck, you change your filters, you turn it back on, guess what it's going to say? Oh, you still need to change those filters. You have to change what's called the ash count. The ash count is inside of your computer. You have to reset the ash count by physically plugging a laptop into your truck and using Freightliner software to do it. You also have to, believe it or not, this is the crazy part, and every mechanic forgets it. I've got video of the guy doing it on mine. He forgot it. So don't feel bad if you forget. You're changing out those DPF filters if you're a mechanic. You gotta write down the numbers off the filters, people. Okay, mechanics, y'all, you gotta write them down. If you don't write down that serial number off of that filter, your computer's going to ask for it. You're going to be using a endoscopic microscope to look at the number off that filter, because you have to register it sort of in your computer, and your computer has to accept it. And get this, if you do all that physical work and your computer doesn't accept that filter, you might have an issue too. So you might have to have them. I don't think you would have that problem, but if your computer was somehow had a software issue or something, well, you'd be looking at another ECM. But back to this issue, before I even get into the electrolysis of it, back to the issue about DPF filters. That magic number you're wanting for, that you want me to bring up, want me to tell, about 350 to 380,000 miles, maybe 400,000 miles if you're lucky, depending on how you idle it. Okay, I had to idle mine some. So there you go, there's your answer. All right, but it's more than that, so keep listening. Okay, you got to get into a shop that's going to accept you and not have a 4-day wait period, or you could go broke real quick. A lot of people quit company jobs because the company's got them sitting there waiting on DPF filter changes. Yeah, well, what happens is your computer, this guy's fixing to curb this, watch this. So, crazy, beating up curbs because they can't drive. See him over the curb on the right side. Anyways, so, basically, a lot of people are quitting because of the time, and you got to keep in mind it's 4 to 6 hours, but first they have to get you into the shop, and they may have a backlog of people trying to get into the shop now because of this issue, causing even more mechanical, problems that they've got to fix in every single truck with DEF fluid. And eventually we're all going to have to go to that, all trucks. You'll see. So people are, like I said, people are quitting their jobs because the company's got them sitting there waiting for the DPF filters to be changed out. And on a Cummins, here's the kicker. A Cummins engine is the one engine that I was told specifically, make sure you tell your people about this, because I talked to a mechanic, I talked to shops, and they're like, yeah, tell them about that. You have to pay $8,000 for those two filters, because they send those off and they bake them in a special high temp like furnace, and they're not going to let you just do a swap out. Freightliner's set up with swap outs. But if you do own a truck and if you want to try it and get yours cleaned, there's one guy from Russia that's up there in, man, I think he's in, I'll have to get the name of that place, but there's people who independently clean DPF filters. You can look for them, but you got to be at their shop when it happens. So here's the problem. Your truck's going to derate to 55 miles an hour. Now listen carefully when I say this. It's going to derate to 55 miles an hour. When this happens, if you turn your truck off, 5 miles an hour. Okay? See, you can't learn this in trucking school. You can only learn this from someone who's been through it. And I don't know anybody that's been through this is actually trying to teach this, so I decided to go up here and do this. That's just what I'm doing. Hope somebody appreciates it, says, you know, at some date somewhere. Just learn it and, you know, share it. Tell your friends about it, whatever. If you got your own channel, you know, I don't mind being copied, if so much as you know, put it up there and say, hey, look, by the way, I learned this from trucking stuff. Check him out. He's doing a good thing over there. So, you know, put it on your channel, though. You know, seriously. Tell them about these DPF filters. They need to know, because otherwise they're in the middle of the road or side of a mountain, freezing their butt off, and they're broke down. And they're paying a wrecker bill when you can plan DPF filters. I planned mine kind of good. But once it derates to 55, well, I'll tell you what happened. I went to a shop and I was very, very close to there, less than 1/8 of a mile. Went up there, shut off the truck, because it was, you know, giving me check engine codes at that point that were actually going to, you know, blink. I'm like, I'll shut it off, fine. Went to restart it, 5 miles an hour. Now they did wind up changing, I guess it didn't give a code for that at first, but they did wind up changing my DEF pump, because the DEF pump went out. I think it was that it went out afterwards, but either way, 5 miles an hour, people. Oh yeah, even, yeah, that's bad. That's way bad. So I was lucky the way I planned it, but still it was difficult. So you're gonna break down at about 350,000 miles. So know that if you buy a used truck, you can go into the computer and you can check the ash count, and you can check if the diesel particulate filter status is needed. And like I was saying, you can check it if you have a computer log in your truck. Like I said, PeopleNet is one that I know. There's a couple of them. I think they try to limit you on Qualcomm, but you can get in there and you can find stuff out. But any Love's truck stop will check it for free. You can go up there and have them plug it in. So if you're going to buy a truck and you want to test drive it to a Love's, and they can plug in the computer. They can tell you all the codes that have not been fixed, and they can tell you about that. But I'm gonna do a whole nother video, like I said, just on buying a used truck, what you need to look for. The DPF filters, like I said, they could go up to 8 grand, but then if you on a Cummins or 2,900, 26 to 2,900, I think I paid $2,970 something for mine to be done. I had it, so that was good. It's good to save back and put money into a maintenance account. For that reason, I mean, it would have been $1,700 more if you pay a wrecker. So that's why I'm telling you this now. So you know now, once it goes to 55, don't shut off the truck. Keep riding and get your butt to not just any shop. Sit there and set the cruise control to idle, and not just any shop, but a shop that can take you in and not hold you up for 4 days. Okay? You don't want them dropping your drive shaft on the side of a road and you pay an extra $1,700 or 2 grand or 3 grand for a wrecker bill on top of the insult that's engineered into your truck to make you fail. So drive it to a shop, don't shut it off. The filters, like I said, they come in a plastic container. There's 2 of them. They roll them in there. They roll yours out, and I say roll because it's like a hump. They put them in there. They put the clamps on them, mount them, and then they change the ash count, and then they enter the numbers, serial numbers off the side of it, very, very small, tiny numbers into. Yeah, I'm trying, dude. Great info, brother. I appreciate it. Miami, Jamaica, let's see here. It went away. Let's see here. Miami, Jamaica, Starboy. Yeah, I'm trying, dude. I'm doing my best to put info up there because they don't teach us this shit and they want us to just accept it when we're broke down. And then these companies, here's the problem I had. This is what made me angry. There was a middle-aged black woman who was waiting on her truck when I was at a different shop to get other work done to my truck. Specifically, I had a problem about my bunk heater. Now, we're sitting there talking, okay? She appreciated what I did about the seatbelt trick, and she shared it to a bunch of people. Well, the thing is, she's sitting there and her company made her leave a hotel, sit at the Freightliner and wait for her truck, right? And it's broke down, and they said, oh, it might be done today. And they had told her at the shop that it wouldn't be done today. But in order, they didn't save any on the motel bill because they were going to have to get her in there the next day anyways. But they almost like a punishment to the driver, so that you're like, okay, I'm making my minimum for the day. Can't let you just chill in a hotel and watch some TV and order pizza like truckers do. That's all we want, right? That's another reason I don't do that company mess. But they got her in there waiting, and it really ticked me off. So shop time and knowing ahead of time that you can get your truck in the shop, they didn't even have her truck in the shop. She was gonna be waiting. She already waited all weekend and spent her money, about $500 of her money that, yeah, they'll pay her back, but they got their money in the stock market and they're making money. She's sitting there going broke. I call bullshit. So I'm getting up here and telling you, hey, plan ahead and know that whenever it derates to 55, you got to find a shop that will not just get you in, but that does not have a 4-hour backlog. They want to get you in the door with this new trick they do. They'll say, hey, we have a 1-hour express check. Okay, great, you can express check my mess. Then I've got to pay you for that hour, even if I leave there. I could do that at the Loves for free if they hook up my computer to their computer to my laptop to my computer. You know what I'm saying? See, I'm getting so upset about that situation, I get flustered. Let me just say it like this. You can go to a Loves and do the same thing for free. They will hook up a computer under your dash with the software from Freightliner, and they'll tell you the codes, or whatever kind of truck you got. They'll tell you the codes that's wrong with your truck, and you can leave and you don't owe them a dime. Then you can call a shop and say, hey, can you do this service within this many days? Oh, we're not booked at all if you come in now. Now, I can't make no promises because things change, but we're not booked up now. Then you say, okay, transfer me to parts. Parts, do you have the parts in, or is that something you got to order 4 or 5 days? Well, it could be this. We have this in stock, this in stock. Might take a day to get that. Then you know you're a day behind. You know, you can maybe call another shop, or if they're close enough and you're derated to 55, bam, that's your shop, right? Okay, so, and you can pay after hours. I talked about that in a different video. You can say, hey, look, I know you can't finish this job. Who's your after hours guy? And is he certified to finish this job? Well, yes, but it's $10 more an hour, and you got to pay a $150 road call, even though he's coming to that shop. Fine, bring him in here. 150 bucks, damn, bam, done just like that. That's what I had to do when they figured out after the DPF filters that the pump was bad, but the pump was under warranty, but I paid labor and I was out the door that day, rather than wait until Monday when that shop opens again. You got me, people? There's little tricks that you do to get out of a shop. First, you don't get into a bad situation in a shop, then you have tricks you can use to get out of the shop. You pay for after hour service, you're not waiting on a mechanic, he's yours. You own that time he's spending. So back to the DPF filters though, it was about $2,900, 380 something thousand miles. I didn't mention that, but I'm for the people that's in here now. And what you have to know is, don't shut it off, whatever you do, because then it goes to 5 miles an hour. But when it goes to 55, make sure if you're with a company, you got to call your company and let them know, hey, there's an issue with this truck. Where you want to take it? Do you want to bring it to your shop and swap me trucks? That's your best interest for making money, is to take it to your company terminal if you can and get a different truck to run in the meantime. You tell them, say, I already know this is going to take y'all this long. Put me in another truck and keep me rolling. Otherwise, they're going to hold you up, hem and haw, and you're going to be broke. That's why a lot of people, when they see that DPF and they know it's their truck, bam, they're leaving. They're quitting the company and they're going to another company because they can't afford to go broke. They can't afford to go 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. Like I've been that long without a check before, but some people can't afford to, at that point, do that, and they'll lose their ass. They'll lose everything they got. So they'll quit the company and they'll go somewhere else, and I don't blame them, not at all. So it's an engineered to fail situation. The engineers put something in your truck that's designed on purpose to shut you down and to fail. They don't care you're on the side of the road broke down. They don't care you're gonna freeze because you can't idle your truck and maybe your bunk heater don't work, like I had that problem. They don't care. All they know is that's what they designed into the truck to meet EPA regulations. Fine, cool, you know. Then you're paying for a wrecker. Try to beat the wrecker, people. So I'm gonna go into something else for a minute, and then I'll go back to something on the DPF filters. There's a whole nother thing that they designed to fail in these trucks. They designed in that, okay, go back in time. A long time ago, the diesel engines did not have a water filter in them, okay? They just had, you know, just water lines, right? And then you had to add additive to the antifreeze to keep it from allowing electrical sparks like lightning. This is gonna sound weird, but it happens because you got a water jacket in a diesel motor. Cars, you bore the block, and that's the piston goes up and down inside of that hole, and that is your cylinder wall. Diesel engines have a water jacket around that cylinder wall. That cylinder wall just pops into place and the piston goes up and down in it. It's like a sleeve. They call it a sleeve. So you can rebuild a diesel engine in frame because of that, because there's no reason to take the block out and have it bored or have it honed or have it in any way worked on, because the liner comes out. You put a new liner in, a new sleeve in, and the piston goes up and down in that, and that's it. That's it and that's all. That is your cylinder wall. Your cylinder walls can be replaced without even doing any machine work to the engine. Other than you want to turn the crank, put another crank on it, change the cam, maybe cam bearings, you know, that kind of stuff. But the cylinder wall itself is surrounded by water to keep it cool in a diesel engine. So you got the same possibility of leaking water into that wall if you had a seal to fail somehow in the head gasket on a car. When you have a blown head gasket, you get water in the oil and antifreeze in the oil with it. Comes from your radiator, okay, because it keeps your head cool. Well, in a diesel engine, the water also goes around that jacket, that cylinder wall. And if you don't put this certain chemical in antifreeze and water, especially just water, you might think you're okay riding down the road with just water in your truck. You're not. Electrolysis will set in. That means when the piston goes up, and it's ignition by compression. When the piston goes up and then that diesel and that air in there is compressed, it explodes just like a spark plug would make it, only it's by compression. It forces the piston down through the cylinder, and when that explosion happens, it creates for some reason, it creates lightning like sparks that go, it's almost like a static electric spark that goes from the outside of the block, or the inside of the outer block, I'm sorry, the inside of the inner block, the block of the engine through that antifreeze water jacket and hits the outside of the liner. And it makes a little divot. And then it'll hit another divot. And then it'll hit another, and it'll hit in the path of least resistance. It's gonna hit that same divot a lot. You have all these scars. I'm gonna put up a video. I'll put a link to a video where I show one in a junkyard. And I called the video Electrolisis. I'll find it, I'll tag it to this one. I'll put it in the description below, okay? Basically what happens is those electric sparks keep hitting until it puts a hole straight through that liner. So then the piston's going up and down in a sleeve, but the sleeve has a hole in it. And you get water through that sleeve into the oil. That's why you go to Speedco and have them test your oil every oil change. You have them pay that extra 10 or 15 bucks for an oil analysis. Tell them before they dump your oil, so they know they got to catch some in the bottom. You can do it mid oil change now that they've extended oil changes so long, and they do it with what's called a vampire machine. It sucks oil through the dipstick tube. If the vamp machine's working, sometimes they ain't, it'll suck that oil out and you can have it tested. Now, On the electrolysis side, they'll test for what's called glycol, which is antifreeze in the oil, okay? Low percentage. They'll tell you when to worry. Now, when you first buy a truck, it's going to have all kinds of crazy readings. Forget about it. Go ahead and do the analysis, but it's going to have copper off the charts. It's going to have all, because your injector cups, your piston rings, everything's wearing and seating itself to the new engine. So you're going to get crazy readings the first time, maybe even the second time. Second time, it should be back to normal. All right, so these levels, any kind of glycol in your oil is bad. They'll show you, but they'll show you what's acceptable, what's not, whatever. But these levels of this chemical in your antifreeze is what stops electrolysis from happening. It makes it like it's a non-conductor. It makes the antifreeze so it does not conduct electricity from the outside, the inner of the block, through that water jacket into the liners, from the outside of the liner into where the piston goes. So it won't allow electric sparks, lightning kind of, to go to pit the liners. It's called pitted liners. It's called electrolysis. It's called, well, it's not Black Death. Racers used to have pistons that if they run them too lean, it would burn a hole in the top of the piston, especially aluminum pistons, and they called it Black Death because you run in something that is that, especially nitrous. That's why you don't run nitrous with just any kind of piston or anything other than chromoly rings. The point is, on a diesel engine, this is like the Black Death for racers. This is what happens, and you're looking at, on the numbers, I'll give you a number, 600,000 all day long, 550,000, 600,000. It will happen. Now, so like I was saying, on the older trucks, they did not have a water filter. Then they realized this problem of electrolysis, and they're thinking they might want to have a water filter in there to help the water pump last longer. So they said, hey, let's put a water filter in there. That was a great idea. And they put in that water filter, once they figured out electrolysis, they put what's called the pill in that filter. The pill took place of any additive that you'd want to put in at about 300,000 miles or so in your antifreeze, and it would stop electrolysis. The pill inside of the filter. You could buy the filters both ways. If you had your own antifreeze and you did your own additive, you would get it without the pill. If you didn't add additive to your antifreeze, even if you run in the new Texaco blend that they made, you would get the filter. You'd say, I need the filter with the pill. Okay, fine. Or the additive. People call it, we just call it pill for slang. Fine. Now, these geniuses, these engineers, so-called engineers, have engineered another ticking shot bomb into your truck. Take a guess. Take a flaming guess what they have done. I'll tell you. Okay? They decided, let's not put a water filter in these trucks anymore. Now me, I'm smart enough to know the old way. Or I have knowledge. I ain't saying smart enough. I have knowledge of the old way. So I went up there to Freightliner. I'm like, okay, hey, I'm here for a water filter and I want to get the one with the pill in it. They looked up my VIN number. They said, you don't have a water filter on your engine. I said, no, I'm sorry, dude. This is like man, you talk about a new Freightliner, man. Quit playing. He's like, no, they quit putting filters in line in those trucks. That does two problems. One, it makes it more likely you're going to have a water pump failure for anything that could be in your antifreeze when it breaks down and it gums up and it, Two, get ready for this, hold on to your hat. Guess what? Pitted liners. Your engine will fail in these new trucks at about 500,000 miles. It'll be under warranty. They'll rebuild it. You'll quit, because you'll quit your company, because you're going to sit for 3 or 4 days for it to be rebuilt. Or if you're owner operator, you may lose your butt if you don't have the money saved up for that. Even the downtime alone can make you go broke, because they're doing a in-frame. They're taking those liners out, taking those pistons out. They're not going to change your crank. They're not going to change everything. They're going to only change just the minimum, and they're going to say, if you want to change the other stuff, it's going to cost you another $3,000, $4,000, and that's where they get you. I'd tell them slap it together and I'd put a for sale sign on it. But here's the thing. Well, here's the thing, okay? When they do rebuild that engine, if you drop it on them and don't pay for it, they'll go ahead and do the full rebuild. And that's how you buy a truck, and that's how people are going to continue to buy used trucks, is they're going to get a deal, because just like I bought a truck a long time ago, 16.5, 17.2 with tax, cash money, First National Bank of me. I saved up at another place, and guess what? You can get a truck that's just been rebuilt that's the same price as the one across the street, only it's got a new engine in it. Because when they do an in-frame and all that for that warranty, when they know they're going to get a lien, a mechanic's lien on that engine, they'll just wait and let it be left apart in the shop. Then when they get that lien and it's their truck, they'll go ahead and put the rest of that motor work in there because they know they should. It's a complete in-frame. They've got a warranty on it, a new warranty, and they'll put it up for sale and they'll sell it. And you just lost your truck, and they'll sell it to somebody else for whatever they think they can get out of it, or sometimes just for the amount of what it should be worth, sometimes for the amount just of the shop bill and a little bit more. So you can look in the truck trader, you'll find about one out of the whole book, maybe two or three, that's done that, and you'll see, oh, you call them up, they'll tell you. They'll say, yeah, oh yeah, that was, the driver couldn't pay it, we had to do a mechanic's lien on it, and yeah, electrolysis, or they won't tell you pitted liners and electrolysis. They'll just say, it's got a fresh in-frame. That's all they'll get into. They don't want to tell the rest of it. So now you're driving a truck that does not have the pill, that does not have the filter, okay? And you have to know at about 300,000 miles that you need to go to Freightliner's got it. I don't know if Speedco sells it anymore because it was an old problem that they changed and designed out of, and now these engineers have engineered a new problem. It's an old problem. So I don't know if Speedco has it. I don't know if TA has it. I know Freightliner has it. It's called antifreeze life extender. Okay, it's about, say, $7. Best $7 you ever spent. You better get that if you're over 300,000 miles. And it's a little bitty, it's like a pint. It's small, but it makes all the difference. One of those will do your whole truck. You put it in with your coolant, it mixes, done deal. Otherwise, your engine will blow up. Yeah, who told you that? Trucking stuff. You know what I'm saying? You found it here. Nobody's telling this stuff because it's old knowledge that they had designed a way out of, and engineered a way out of it, putting a filter in, and now they decided, hey, let's not put a filter in the truck no more. Fucking geniuses. So, there you go. Now, if y'all want to say anything, I appreciate y'all giving me time to put that spiel out there, whatever you want to call all them words, and all that before I lost my train of thought. And mud flap hangers, them little 1/4-inch steel ones, are a nightmare. They're dropping mud flaps everywhere. I used to have an old joke, because I had a company that had a lock for the back doors that kept failing and they'd fall off going down the road. They engineered a new way to fix that, right? Guess what the engineered way was? It wasn't to fix the lock. When you got a new lock, it had a tether cable on it. Then they even had some that the tether cables were breaking. And it was happening, it's funny, in Texas a lot. And my joke at that time was, like the way the old westerns used to have, when the sheriff would come in and catch the outlaw, he would say, drop your gun belt. The man would drop his gun belt and they'd walk off into the sunset, right? Take him to jail, right? And then there was cactuses everywhere. Well, my old joke was, I figured if I ever went to Texas, this is before I ever went to Texas, if I ever go to Texas, I'm gonna see a bunch of cactuses and a bunch of gun belts just laying everywhere, right? That's what you'd think from what they show you on TV, right? So then my joke changed to where now it would be cactuses, gun belts, and those locks off the back door. And I even called that company and told them that, and they laughed, but it's like, yeah, y'all need to fix that, you know? They put tether cables on them and then they changed to a different kind of lock. Well, now it's cactuses, gun belts, those locks that go on the back of the door, and mud flap hangers with the 1/4-inch bar, because they're breaking that much. That's how much these things are breaking. You go out of any place that you go to, that you pick up or deliver at, right there at the guard shack, down the road, whatever, a hanger that's a 1/4-inch steel and a mud flap and the reflectors on it, sitting there in the road. It's really a road hazard. They just about ought to outlaw them. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm being honest, you know? Yeah, drill you a couple holes in your frame, put the old spring-loaded chrome or stainless steel, whatever you want to call it, mud flap hanger, and they'll last forever. They designed another stupid problem. It's 1/4 inch. The problem is it's cast steel. It's not strong steel, because the vibration makes it snap right there at the pinch point where it mounts into the block that's mounted to the frame. That's your mud flap, you know. There's a little block there, and those blocks can be bad. I bought a new block to try to alleviate the problem. After about number 4, that's when you got to get smarter than the engineers. You just got to fix it, you know, change it. It makes no sense to run them because they're stupid. They break. They're designed to fail. All this crap that's designed to fail, like the water inlets on the Kenworths. I can't tell you how many trucks I'm repowering at this point. I'm not picking up loads from shippers anymore. I'm picking up loads from mechanic shops. Yes, they have a record to take them in there, but that load's sitting there and it's got to be delivered. I'm repowering at this point. I could go on load board, I could check out repowering and just repower. They're designing these failures into trucks, and I feel sorry for the driver. I'm like, man, dude, you got water. Every time I go there, before I go there, because I know, I've been there. I'm bringing extra water in my cooler, extra cans of beef stew and rice or whatever. I'm like, dude, hey man, you know what you got? Oh man, thank you. Or, oh, I'm okay, I got this, but I know I'm gonna be a few days. You know, bring a pizza with you, give him half of it. Cause I ain't lying. At that point, you go from trucker to homeless. You know, I do the backpacks for the homeless. They ought to have backpacks for truckers, the way they're breaking us down. They should be sitting up there at the damn dealership. The point is this. Kenworths have those water fittings that are plastic screwed into a hot block, and they're designed to break, and it's retarded. But that's what you deal with. So you might want to upgrade your truck and take it to a machine shop. Maybe go to Home Depot and get some brass pieces and see if you can get the right thread. If not, have them cut you thread. Have them cut you some thread, make some fittings, and replace those stupid plastic fittings. That's retarded. So, and have cutoffs. You gotta have cutoffs, and you gotta know where your cutoffs are on your truck to cut off the water that goes from the water pump to the heater core, and also to the heater core in the back of the truck. So that's 4 cutoffs. And so you gotta know where those cutoffs are in case you have any kind of a leak, so that you can, you know, stop the leak. You're driving down the road, you got a leak, you're about to lose all your antifreeze, pull over, stop. Here's the problem with the Kenworth fittings though. They're right there at the connection. There's no way to cut them off. It's a leak before a cutoff, and there's no cutoff. That's retarded. Change to brass, people, go brass. You know, put some anti-seize on the threads so that 2 dissimilar metals won't seize up, but who cares? It won't ever have to be changed. It'll never break. It's brass. It don't know no better. So where else do I want to go with this, man? I got a bunch of info I was trying to get out of my head to tell y'all about the DPF filters. Yeah, it's about a $10,000 yeah, the box is $8,500 to $10,000. The filters are another $1,200 and something. Then you gotta buy 2 extra clamps all the time. So that's if the box is bad. If the box is bad and you make sure they check for it, it'll be under warranty. But when your warranty runs up around about $600,000, ask me how many they have in stock, because they know they break so often. The one Freightliner I called, they had 6 in stock. That's how often the one box that cost $8,500 to $10,000 extra over and above DPF filters, that's how much it costs. Yeah, welcome to the big leagues. So, I ain't trying to put 10 extra grand in a truck. I know you ain't either. So you might want to trade your truck in right about the time your warranty runs out, or sell it when it's paid off. You know what I'm saying? Sell it. You got me? Who needs that issue? Unless you just want to put 10 grand into a truck. You can always run a pipe around it and do what you want to do and don't run to California. I know people that are doing DEF, DPF deletes. DPF, it's DEF, DPF, EGR delete if you want to be specific about it. There's places that'll do it for you. Any diesel doctor can probably do it, but you can still run a pipe. And there you go. You do what you got to do, man. You know, handle your business. So I'm trying to think of what else that I had. Believe it or not, I had a couple of notes. I just don't know where to, I don't know what else I missed. I know that you have to, like I said, you got to reset the ash count. It's not a physical thing. You can change them filters, and you have to punch those filter numbers and register them into your computer, and it has to accept them, or you'll still be derated at 5 miles an hour and you're going nowhere fast. Don't shut the truck off. Don't shut it off. And then I told you, don't shut the truck off. You'll go from 55 to 5. And then you're a first annual trucker parade. And it's not fun with all the cars beeping behind you, wondering what is going on. So, you will be paying for a wrecker at that point. And then it all goes up by the tune of, you know, $1,700 to, I think they charge about $500 hookup. I think it went from like $250 somewhere around $500 to hook up to your truck, then however much per mile, and there's a minimum of so many miles. Probably about $1,000, $1,200 to about $1,700 on usual on a tow bill, depending on how many miles you go. It could be a lot more than that. If you buy a new truck, don't have it towed, there's a service that will drive it to you. You can pay that driver to drive it. Keep that in mind. There's people that do that for a living. All you gotta do is call them. I'll find a link. I'll put it on here. It'll be later. But yeah, so make sure you get the antifreeze. It's called antifreeze additive. It's antifreeze life extender is what it's called. It's about $6 to $7, $4.99 to $6.99, something like that. Freightliner's got it, and it doesn't care if it goes in your Peterbilt. So if you don't have it in stock at Peterbilt, go to Freightliner. You see what I'm saying, people? It's a diesel engine. It don't know no better. It's not going to spit it out because it ain't Peterbilt fluid. You with me? So anyways, and I've had problems where the cab leaks, and that's supposed to be under warranty, and then it gets into the cab controller and makes the lights in the back all wonky, and I had that fixed. It's an issue where it's an ongoing problem where Freightliners leak water like a sieve. You would think that we were in a big trough or a gutter system, that we're in the flow of it. You can't keep paperwork on the dash till you pay for windshields and have it all sealed up, even from a brand new truck, and that's sorry as hell. Freightliner, y'all need to tighten up. For real. Get your trucks tight. Anyway, anybody wants to say anything, I'm gonna get rolling in a minute. I'm gonna split. I really wanted to put up info about DEF fluid and DPF filters. There's also a little screen, like I said, in the DPF manifold, I'm gonna call it, and a little filter in there you need to clean out. There's people on YouTube that show you how to do that. I'm not gonna show you how to do that. Why? Because I got my whole pump and everything changed under warranty. You know, you can do that. And as far as people cleaning dozers, I'm gonna give you some info on that. A dozer can leak diesel fuel into your filter system and in your exhaust, and it can destroy your DPF filters that I just talked about how much they cost. So let me give you a heads up. You clean it if you want, you can clean it once, but you're better off to wait till it fails and they'll put a new one in there that you don't have to worry about it leaking under warranty. It's after the warranty you clean them, and you clean them maybe once, I'd buy a new one, people. Buy a new dozer. I'm not going to show you a video of cleaning a dozer out until such time as I had already went through the warranty, and even if I did, I'd be telling you, you're better off buying a new one. That way, if it's dumping diesel fuel in there, it's not going to destroy your DPF filters. It's not a forever thing that you can just clean. It's not a motorcycle jet. It's not a car carburetor jet. It's a dozer. It dumps fuel into your exhaust. It can leak fuel into your exhaust. You got me? So the inside of that thing, it's not perfect. It's a machine. It's designed to break. It's not perfect. So you don't want to prematurely destroy your DPF filters by dumping diesel fuel through your dozer just because you cleaned it. Just get a new one. And as far as the EGR valves, get a new EGR valve when there's time. It's called an EGR tune-up. A couple 100,000 miles, 3 to 4, no longer than 450. I'd say no longer than 4. You could clean it every 100,000 miles if you wanted to. Wouldn't hurt. But have them check your EGR, and it's a sensor up there, really is what it is. And just change it out. You know, have them change it. Either way. And they can clean with some, not carburetor cleaner. Never use carburetor cleaner. Don't use nothing on that EGR thing, but don't use carburetor cleaner on any of the intake ports. Always use something that's a a little less caustic, a little less of something that it won't eat the clear coat or any kind of liner or any kind of anything on any of the sensors in the exhaust system. Okay, that's why if you have a car that's fuel injected, you want to use fuel injector cleaner. You never use carb cleaner, because carb cleaner eats the clear coating that's sprayed into that and also messes up the sensors. So there you go. So these trucks are a nightmare. That's basically, it's a ticking shot bomb. It's designed to fail. And that's all the stuff that I got. I saw somebody else come in the room. You're a little late to the party, but it's all good. Get your DEF filters changed and don't shut your truck off when they go bad. You know, I put it all out. I can't think of anything else. Tell me what I'm missing. You know, you got anything to say, you can go ahead and talk. I'm listening to music for a sec. I'm gonna grab a cigar. Hope everybody's doing good. If you're not, go to the back of the truck stop. There's a whole book or a whole bunch of business cards to help you out that will get you good at another company that will do you right. I'm gonna do at some point I'll do a live and I'll let you just write down all the extra parts, and then I'll do a video on the extra parts too for people that are across the pond, they're overseas and don't speak English. I'll show them when I get time the physical parts that you should keep in a truck, like an airline, extra airlines that go to your trailer, turbo boots, turbo boot clamps, all that stuff. You know, that kind of stuff. So man, just it's been a day for me from yesterday. Let's see. Oh man, it's just time to chill. Man, I had a salad. I've been lazy. I had a salad. I had some roast. They're starting to put that stuff out there. That's my security right there. Oh boy, I think I'm gonna have to add some things to my motivation. I put up a motivation thing up there. Yeah, I'm gonna have to maybe find a good copy of Jimi Hendrix playing the, let's see here, playing the national anthem. Let's see what we got here. Well, a Cuban cigar. It's not a Cuban cigar. I'm gonna tell you honestly, Cubans are still technically illegal to be buying. It's my understanding we still have an embargo, but here's how it works. A long time ago, people used to take an airplane from, most times they would fly to Mexico, and then they would get off the plane, have their stuff stamped, get back on the plane. It's really stupid. Fly to either get Cubans from there or whatever, or fly to Spain and then fly back and take the labels off and stick them in their pocket or what. And there's no labels, so they can't prove, and they can have so many. Or some people was ordering them from Spain, because Spain does not and never has had an embargo against Cuba. See, when Kennedy signed that over, you're gonna get me into some Kennedy mess now, but when Kennedy signed it over, before he signed the embargo, that was all about the Cuban Missile Crisis and all that. Before he signed the embargo against Cuba, because they parked a bunch of bad things down there that they were gonna shoot at us, that, you know, Russia's had their stuff down there aimed at us. He had his, I believe it was the Secret Service that got it for him, but he had them bring him a big case of Cuban cigars, because Kennedy loved cigars. Kennedy smoked Cubans, and he knew what was up. Once he signed that embargo, that was it. He had like two big, huge crates full of his favorite Cuban cigars. Then he signed the embargo. So everybody else gets done wrong, but he gets his smokes. But it's fine, you know, and like I said, it's forbidden fruit, but Cubans are not the best. I'm going to tell you again, Cubans are not the best. All of the families that used to grow tobacco in Cuba, they all left, and they took the seed with them because they knew they weren't going to be able to make a living, because they were exporting all the cigars. So they left. All the families left Cuba except for a couple. Now, you can still get it like a good Romeo y Julieta, you know, from Cuba or what. But the thing is, the families left and they went to Nicaragua. They went to let's see, let me get this straight. Nicaragua, where do I get? Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, anywhere they could grow down there. And you can still get really good cigars from them, and they improved their way of doing things too. So they started mixing different blends. It's all long filler, but they started changing up the wrappers. You know, you got Maduro and double Maduro and all this going on now, where it's a little variation, and the dirt has a lot to do with it. It's all volcanic ash. It's good to have good dirt. That's why you wind up getting San Marzano tomatoes that are imported to here, and they got better, you know, sauce up in the northern states for their pizza, because that's the way they made Sicilian pizza. The volcanic ash made those tomatoes, it's called the long tomato, made them taste better. Same with cigars. So like I said, you're gonna get me off into cigars and Kennedy and all that stuff. But nope, Dominican, dude. Dominican, or, well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna grab the box. I've got a bunch of, let's see, we got here some different cigars. Like I said, I just had a roast, man. I was just sitting here chilling, and I didn't exactly have everything set up just to grab my cigars, but I do need to. And I've got to move some stuff now just to get to them. Oh. But yeah, there's gonna be a cigar. Here it is, right, we got here, Perdomo. I've got this Perdomo I need to finish the rest of, but I'll grab my box. I've got some that are, some from Dominican. Anything imported is good. Don't smoke that crap they've got at gas stations. Even the Macanudos from a truck stop are decent, and they're imported, but they're not as good as what you're gonna get at a cigar shop. I'll tell you that. Here we go. Man, that's a good smelling cigar. I'll tell you. Don't have smell-o-vision on here, I'd put them up. But yeah, yeah, I still have another, this Chupacabra. I don't even think it says where it's from. So I don't have a good example for you, but I would say you can't go wrong with Macanudo and get one from a cigar shop, and those are right there about the best. But then there's that square box press Java by Drew Estate, and that thing was phenomenal. You can get you some cigars from those rum dipped ones, Trader Jack's. Oh my God, that's the best tasting thing you'll put in your mouth. The smoking of it and the room note is not the greatest, but the Drew Estate Java by Drew Estate, not the mint, not none of that mess, just the Java by Drew Estate. I don't know the name, it's the regular one, because I don't really like infused tobacco with a bunch of different stuff in it. That one though, it tastes so good. Just put it in your mouth, it actually tastes, and the smoke is good. So, but yeah, right now I'm having a Perdomo, and I like the Lot 23. I got a bunch of different cigars I like. I found my favorite ones though are the ones I just told you about. Macanudo, Java by Drew Estate, and Rum Dip Trader Jack's. Those three. Write them down and light them with a stick rather than a lighter, so you don't get the taste of butane, and so you don't mess up your taste, because it's easy to, you got to cleanse your palate with water, but it's easy to mess up your taste buds so you can't really taste what a cigar's like. I hope your DPF filters are good. I hope everybody's is, because man, it's a nightmare even when you plan for it. And you're gonna be downtime, it sucks. And they designed that shit. We gotta deal with it. So at least now you know what's gonna happen, right? Because I told you about it. So, light up my cigar. Have a good day, you know. That's a good cigar. Hope you have a cigar. Hope you're not broke down. I'm gonna get off this thing. Dude, if you want to make another comment, you can. I'm gonna split. Because for real, you're a trooper. You hung in there with me. And I got to ride. I got to make a living. So I'm fixing to have a chocolate covered cherry, some coffee out of the Kona machine. You got to try this Kona coffee. Listen, people, there's no paper filter in it. Go to the Pilot. They got a new machine in there for coffee. It's called Kona coffee. Okay? If you got a big thermos, it goes to the left of the bigger one. Set it there, and it has to run through 2 cycles. I hit 3. You got a good espresso type coffee that's not paper filtered. I'm picky about myself. I guess I'm spoiled now. Is that the word? I'm spoiled. So from your spoiled trucker, my shutdown event brings you knowledge, you know? So I hope that helps about the DPF filters. This is gonna go up as a video. Anybody wants to say something, I'm about to split. I got about a quarter left on this cigar. I'll give you that and then I'm gonna split. Make all the comments you want, blow it up. That Kona coffee is phenomenal with this cigar, man. I'm so spoiled. I'm telling you, it don't get much better. And I'm able to teach people. Yep. Have the rest of this roast at some point. Man, it's good stuff. I've been watching airplanes go land, I guess, from right to left. I watched them last night. Got a view of the flag. It's still up, so we're still in business, people. Everybody else is leaving. You know, you feel lazy when everybody else is working, right? I gotta get going. I'm gonna do a cannonball run. I'm gonna put in about 700 miles. I hope everybody's doing good. Y'all have a good day. I'm getting off this thing. I'm gonna turn the horn off. I appreciate you joining me and watching it and learning. And I also hope that this helps you, because your company could care less whether you know how to do a regen or any of this. They want you to be stupid. Well, I want you to be smart. Be smart, people. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good one. I'm out. Peace.